Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with ginger pear cranberry sauce. That's right, I've been trying to work pear into a holiday cranberry sauce for like decades, and I never quite got around to it, but I finally did, and I'm so glad because the results were pretty exciting. By the way, if you're serving cranberry sauce from a can because you like it, well, that's weird, but that's okay. But if you're using that because you think making fresh cranberry sauce is hard, then you better watch this because it's not hard at all. In fact, it's super easy. So check it out. All right, so there's not much prep to do here. We're going to do a little bit of fresh orange zest, and because we're using fresh orange juice, we have oranges around. And of course, you can use a grater to grate it. I have one of these zesters that makes nice long strips, which I think look nice. All right, so my zest is done. Next up, I'm going to prep one large pear. I'm using a variety called Bosque, which I really like for cooking. All right, not the prettiest pear, but quite delicious. Really has a nice texture, keeps its shape. All right, so we're going to peel that all the way around. Then we're going to cut it in half. Of course, we're going to take the stem off and also the seeds from the center. I like to use a melon baller, but you could use a spoon. Just scoop those out. Once you've trimmed off the stem and taken out the seeds, we're going to cut it in like 1/4 inch thick strips lengthwise and then cut across into little rectangles. And of course, you can do any size and shape you want. You are the boss, so act like it. The key is no matter what shape and size you pick, try to get them as even as possible so that they cook evenly. That's all. All right, so we're going to dump those into a saucepan. I'm going to dump in my orange zest. I'm going to dump in my freshly squeezed orange juice. A ton of sugar, but you need that much. Cranberries are very tart. And also relax, you're not eating the whole bowl, unless you have a major problem. But generally, you're only eating a little spoon of this. We're also going to throw in one whole cinnamon stick. Looks to be about a 4 or 5 incher. All right, one star anise. A little bit of garam masala, which is an Indian spice blend. Very delicious in this. All right, we're going to need a little pinch of salt. And then usually at this point I add some freshly grated ginger root, but this time I decided to use candied ginger. All right, also known as crystallized ginger. Usually you find that in the bulk section, like with the nuts and the dried fruit. So take a look there. If you can't find candied ginger, you can just use some freshly grated ginger roots. There's going to be enough sugar in this anyway, so don't worry too much. So I'm going to mince that up nice and fine. I'm going to toss that in. And then, of course, the fresh cranberries. And as I'm dumping them in, I'm looking for that, ugly ones. Get rid of the ugly ones. I only had one, but scan them over. And once you've dumped your cranberries in, we're going to bring that over to the stove. I'm going to throw in a splash of water. I'm going to put this on medium-high heat. And we're really not going to do much except stand there and give this a stir once in a while it comes up to a simmer. And if you've never made fresh cranberry sauce before, do not be alarmed. It's going to start popping. As those berries heat up, they expand and explode. Most of it happens under the surface, so you'll hear those bursting underneath. But once in a while, one will burst on the surface, so be a little careful. Don't have your face like right over the pot, which is just good advice when you're cooking anyway. All right, because here's what can happen. Check it out. So anyway, no problem. It's really not as dangerous as it sounds, but just be careful. Now, once it starts to bubble, you can back the heat down to medium. That's fine. So we're just going to continue to keep cooking, stirring occasionally until all those berries basically pop. There's always going to be a handful of stubborn ones that don't necessarily pop on their own. I usually just smash those with a spoon, but it's not a big deal. By the time this is stirred and cooled and stirred again and served, everything will be fine. So not a major deal. But if you see a couple berries, you can just smash them against the side or against the bottom. So that took me about 10 or 12 minutes. And at that point, you're simply going to turn it off and let it cool completely. All right, this is not a sauce you want to serve hot or warm. It's much better cold. So I usually make mine the day before and refrigerate it. Once it's cool enough to handle, of course, I like to pull out that cinnamon stick. I definitely like to pull out that star anise. That thing is like a lawsuit waiting to happen, especially if your relatives are litigious. And let's, for the sake of this video, assume that they are. So we're going to pull that stuff out. And once it's cold, you are done. Delicious and gorgeous ginger pear cranberry sauce. I'm going to transfer mine into some kind of decorative container. I went with this kind of tinted green glass because it looked like olden times. And how did it taste? Magnificent. On roast turkey, unbelievable. With a baked Christmas ham, it would be amazing. Just off this spoon, it was amazing. And you didn't hear this from me, but after the holidays are over, you get some vanilla ice cream, the last handful of those mixed nuts, and a couple spoons of this, and you have like the best winter sundae ever. And again, you didn't hear that from me. Like I said, just a very, very delicious sauce to have on your holiday table. I really hope you give it a try. Head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, Enjoy.